Crafters. Well, today we're going to get going on one of our next pages. We've already finished page 1 and we've got the inside and that done, page 2, and also this is our page 3. So in between times I just added another sticker here on my page 2, and on here I ended up adding this sticker, backed it on some black cardstock and put that down. I just wanted to put a few things in. So what we're going to be doing is working on page 4, which is on signature 2, and we're going to get going on that. And so I've got all my papers and everything cut for the page. So we're going to start working from the bottom up. Oh, not from the bottom. Well, I'm going to start by putting my flips and my flaps on here. So we are going to be putting a flap down here as well as a belly band across here. So we're going to start out with those items so that we can get our base paper down. So this flap is 6.5 by 3 3.25. So so that's 6.5. Also add, so it's 7 really, because I added a 1/2 inch for scoring because it's a flap. So we're going to have to do that too. So let's go ahead and let's start getting some of this in here. I'm going to trim off the flaps on here and get that down. Turn that around so I can eyeball it into the middle. Well, I'm not in the middle. All right, that's better. Maybe not exact, but it's better. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to put on here is another flap before I put this belly band down. So this flap is going to go onto this side of the page, and that flap is 5.5 by 8 3/8, and there is score, a 1/2 inch score. So 5.5 by 8 3/8. And you can see that I mitered the corners on this page as well. I just want to make sure that this isn't sitting, you know, exactly to the edge, too close to the edge, but close enough that it is matching up. I guess, let me think. This is going in this way, so this is the outside, so I'm okay. Or is that? Yes. That's right. All right. So the other thing that we want to get down is we do want to get our belly band down on top of our paper that's going to go here. I want to put that in before I put that paper down so I can cover up the tabs on that. And I'm not going to cut those because they're going underneath. But this piece, or this belly band, is, didn't write it on the back, sorry, is 6.5. So that's 6.5, but then there's 2 1/2 inch scores on there, so it's 7.5 by 1 1 1/4, 1 5/8. So just a little bit beyond that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and then we can slide our paper underneath that in order to, because I matched it up over the top of that paper, so we shouldn't have any problem sliding that in and down. And then that way we'll have this covered up. One of the other things that I'm going to be doing on the book is, as I'm kind of going along and looking at my paper supply and what I have and what I don't have, I've decided that I'm going to not cover all of the I think I need to, didn't take into account that flap, so we might have to be, just watch that when you put that in through here, that flap goes over well. I didn't take that into account, but I think I'm going to be fine on that. But I decided I'm not going to cover the undersides of any of my flaps for most of them, because I want to do all the fronts first, and then I can go ahead and cover areas that I think need to be covered in front, so that it just makes more of a point. I just want to save my paper, and not that I'm not going to use any design paper as I go along, but I think I'm going to go through and do the main points and areas of the book first, and then I'll go back and do some of those inside parts to the book, because I don't necessarily want to put black or tan paper through the whole thing for photo mats. So that's why I want to wait, is I want to just make sure that if I have enough, I can cover more areas and then go back to do that. So, okay. It's not as easy as it looks because it's sticking on me. All right, there we go. I just love this green. It's so bright. Such a nice tropic feel to it. Kind of like an alligator, I guess. Okay, so then what we're going to do is I'm going to cover this with this piece of paper, and the size on this is, I cut this 6 3/8 by 1 1.25, I would say. The other thing that just to note is I did ink up all the edges of my paper just to take that white out, especially against the black, because I don't like to have that white core showing on the papers. So what did I do with my little white bee thing? All right, well, we're just gonna do that. And then we're going to cover the inside of this with this solid green paper, and it'll be a good spot for additional opportunities. I have some other items. I could put something like this in here or down here to make a tuck spot, but again, I want to wait to do some of that to see where I'm at and what I have left. I was going to add some magnets in this page as well, but I realized that on the front of here, I am putting a pocket, and so if I just have a taller, tag, that it could just hold the flaps back. So I am not going to put a magnet on these. Okay. Oh, it's right there in front of me. Isn't it amazing how you can lose something and you just had it a second ago? It's like I think I go tool blind or something. Okay, so that's going to go over here. This is going to come down here. And what I have planned for this is I cut out this, this cut apart, and that's what's on the back of that. This must have come off of the signature page. I'm not really sure because I did a little bit of cutting on that. So this actually is, the length of this is 5 and 5/8 by 3 5/8. So, and then I just cut 1/4 of an inch strips, these yellow ones. So I'm going to put those in. I'm going to turn this around a little bit so I can get this down right to start off with. And give us a little bit of a gold color in there. All right. So wondering how it is for all of you today. We actually have a bright sunny day. I can't believe it. We haven't had much sun in quite a while. So I'm not really looking forward to the warm weather. I'm looking forward to the sunnier weather is really what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to put this down here. And again, I have inked all around the edges. I'm going to try to get a few more pages done right away this weekend so I can share that with you. But I am going to be starting a new project because I've got a guest design project that I'm going to be working on for Country Craft Creations. And I need to and want to get that done in March. So I've got a couple things that I'm working on for that. So if I can continue to get these done in the midst of that, I will do that. But otherwise, you may see a different video coming up, but it's not that I've stopped working on this. I will still be working on it because I would like to get this done. And but I'm a little bit new to doing all these kinds of projects with different deadlines and things like that. So bear with me as I kind of navigate my way through this. All right. So I think that's nice because it brings out some of the gold in there. And then we'll put a tag, whether it's a big graphic 45 tag or, you know, a smaller one. I might even put, I had thought about even, rather than this here, I thought about putting this down here as a stop, but I'm not sure I need something quite that big. So just putting that off to the side for now. So that's all going to go like that, and then we're going to work on the front of this page. And the front of this page, oh, shoot. See, I did do a mistake. Darn, 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 darn. Okay. I knew I was going to do that. Well, just wondering if there is a way to fix this. Thought I was doing too well. Well, I might do something a little bit unusual, and so that I don't completely mess up what I've got here. Don't know. Where do I do that? I really should have, I guess You know, see, you learn as you go. I hadn't thought about this when I was putting this in. I thought about just centering it, but really it would have made sense to probably go back just a little bit further so that this isn't showing. And what I meant to do is I meant to put this flap in here and to have the two flaps together. But I think it's going to make this a little bit thicker, but I think I may just do it on this side. Or if there's no way I can get that up from the art glitter glue, and it's not going to be easy to cover up any other way. So there you go. Mistake number 1 for today. But that happens. I'm not going to stress about it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put this actually down on this flap and this down on this flap. And then we will cover it all, and so we still have our flaps in there. And oops. Oh, that's how I had it. I wanted that on the bottom, and I wanted this on the top. Okay, so that's more what we need than anything, because we will then pull this out, and this will then pull out this way and can pull out this way. So, okay. That's what we're going to do. The first thing that I want to do is I'm going to glue that down to this here, and I've mitered the corners. I think sometimes the more we plan, the harder it is, because I sat here for I don't know how long putting all of this together, then thought, oh, I needed to add something more because it was too simple what I had to start with. So then I added these in, and now I completely forgot that I had done that, and look what happened. But oh well, not to worry, it's paper crafting, and there's no rule or law about this other than just do the best you can and be creative. So that's what we're going to do. This might be a little thick on the edge, so I have to watch that as far as what we put in. And these were 6.5 by 4 3/4, these flaps. So I cut 2 of those, and then I scored at 1/2 inch, and I scored at 1/2 inch. So for right now, the other thing that we're going to be doing is putting in our pocket. Oh, it's right here. So I wanted you to see, though, that we're going to be putting a pocket down here. And what I had thought about was if I had any tags, the tags going in here would hold this down. So, okie dokie. For this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover the inside of this, and we'll get our pocket down. So this is cut at, and this is the other side of this paper, it's the bubbles. And this is at 4 3/4 by 6 5/8. So we'll put that down, then we'll get our pocket down. So nice to be on the weekend. I am so happy to not be at work today, but be home to be able to do some crafting. My favorite thing. Should have turned this. Another thing I probably would have done, and you can consider this if you are not making it with me, but you're doing it on your own, I might have, now that I'm seeing where I'm at with this, I might have made an 1/8 of an inch gusset in this before, so that this flap had a little bit more room underneath it. But we'll be fine. I probably would do that next time if I'm putting this together. So then we have a small pocket here, and the pocket is 3 by 6. And then of course, half inch, and mitered the corners. And we will be putting that down right here. Okay. I must have bent some of that. So are you all getting anxious for spring? Or maybe some of you already have spring being all over the country. But we're in Wisconsin. We had a very light year of snow. But of course, this month has been our snow month, meaning February. We've had a lot of snow, but for Christmas we really had next to nothing. So it's a little disappointing for that. But and we're going to put this on here. And so this is just cut at 2 7/8, and it's not 5. 2 7/8 and 4 7/8. One of the things I really like about this paper is the bright colors and the tropical feel. But one of the things I'm struggling with a little bit is I feel like there isn't as many patterned papers with multiple colors in them. There's only a few. Like this is the one that really, it's very busy, but it has a lot of color in it. And it's nice, but the other side of it is that, you know, to try to make the pages look cohesive and all the papers working together, it's important to have the different colors. So I'm going to put this piece on the front of here, and that is 5 7/8 by 3 5/8. Well, no, that's really 3 yes, I'm sorry, 3 5/8. Oh, it's right here, sorry. 3 5/8 by 5 7/8. So we're going to do this right here, and then we're going to do a smaller piece of paper tying in this color into our papers, and so we have a little bit of a tuck spot as well. So I'm going to put that down right here. And really, you can make this pocket as big or as small as you'd like to make it. I made this 1.5 inches. Yeah, it was 1.5 inches. And I'm going to just put art glitter glue on the sides and very much along the bottom of the paper. And make ourselves, it's not going to be a pocket that'll hold anything too significant, but this is going to be thick enough. It doesn't need to be. So that's why I'm just putting this in here instead of making a picture. You see me with my little rag. I forgot to take them out soon enough this morning and they're still damp. I guess I should try to plan ahead and keep some of those wipes out. And these are the Costco brand baby wipes. I really like them. So see, we have a tuck spot right here. But as you can see, by putting into this pocket, this is going to hold this down, and we're not going to be flipping around. There's going to be a chance for it to flip a little bit, but it's not bad because this is really holding it down. And once there's papers or additional items on that, that'll be good. So what we have right now is we have this, and this is blank for, we'll either put photo mats in here or I'll put other paper. And then back here, I will put photo mat paper and maybe some of the stickers, some more of the stickers probably back here. So for right now, though, this is going to be good, and I'm going to stick that in there for now because I would like to use that in some place in this page. So that's the end of our page 4. We're going to be going on to page 5 next, and that'll be, page 5 is on the front of the signature number 3. So I will catch you back as soon as I have that all set up. Thank you. Well, I'm back, and we are going to put together page 5. This was our page 4 that we just completed, and I wanted you to see the colors. It is a bit colorful. There's a lot of movement on page 4, so I wanted to keep this a little bit more simple, and I'm going to use that tag right there. So, all right, let's go ahead. I've inked up my papers except for this one. I need to do that. All right, all of these have been inked up, and this is our signature number 3, and it's page 5. And what I'm going to do is go ahead, and I have a piece of this border strip from the signature page, and the measurement on that, oops, crash, boom. Got more rulers around here than I know what to do with. So this is just 7 7/8. And then as thick as you want to make it. This is really 3/4 of an inch is what I have. And I want to put this on first, and then I'm going to move as far as where I'm going to be putting the larger piece. So, all right, let's get going. I think it's important to keep things a little bit simple. This one is a little bit more patterned than I'm typically used to, but I think I can soften it down just a little bit with some of the tags I'm going to make are probably a little bit plainer. I'm not going to put so much vivid color on them. So, and like I said, that other one was had a lot of flips and flaps on it, so want to make this one just a little bit thinner. But I'm keeping away from this edge a little bit more. Ooh, look at that. Page 5, my purple tape. I almost was going to get buried with the page. But this is our green crocodile paper. Oh, goodness. You know, truly sometimes I wish that I could actually be talking to you as we're doing this and not chat, because, you know, honestly, I watch Tamara from Country Craft Creations, and I do not know how she does it. I don't know how she stays on task to what she's doing, and then also keep going. Now this, I decided I wanted to make this so that it was on top of this piece. I did not want it to go underneath. So I'm just going to leave these edges straight, and then we'll get this on. I just like it when it's not so predictable all the time. So all right. I really think we're going to be fine with those edges. If not, I can try something else, but I think we'll be okay. Let me see if I've got a, yeah, I think it's not really going to be a problem. I wanted to do it this way because I wanted a little bit more on top versus versus underneath, because it was just a different different type of belly band on there. I also am going to probably put a stopper toward the bottom of the page, but at this point I've tried a few of the other cut-aparts or the other little postage stamps, and I haven't really found one that I really liked. So I'm going to wait on that as well. And you know what? I just went ahead and did all of this and didn't even give you the measurements. I apologize. So my my belly band was 5.5, so it would be 6.5 because it's scored at 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. And the width of the belly band is 3 inches. So the paper would then be with 3 inches would be 2 7/8. And if this is, again, 5.5, then this would be 5 3/8. Oh my gosh. I'm not working or in school. I can't get my brain around the numbers. You know, I'll be honest, and if I can just confess to you, that when I cut my papers, I know there are crafters out there that really like to have measurements and do all they can for a measuring, but I'll be honest, I get the most accurate cuts when I don't measure per se, but what I do is I measure by, like, let me show you. If I was going to, say, cover this, I do a much better job if I match up my paper and I give it a small 1/8 of an inch over here or 1/16 of an inch, and then I mark off here. And then when I cut just inside that mark, so it gives me that 1/16 of an inch, and I back this away, and I do this right to the edge of that, and I back off right into the inside of that, and it gives me the 1/16 of an inch. For me, because sometimes with our cutting boards, we're not exact because there's not an edge to all of our cutting boards, but there's just lines. And if you match a line up differently than where you have on some of the other ones, it can be just slightly off. So those measurements, I can't tell you how many times I've measured and then I cut and it didn't fit, and then I cut too much. So honestly, the way I really like to measure is just by putting the paper down and ticking it off with my pencil. I find that I more frequently have good results. Let's put it that way. Not that I never have mistakes or anything. We can all see that I make mistakes as I go along, but just seems to work better for me. But I'm going to try to always give you some of those measurements to help you out, but I think sometimes that if we just learn to do that on our own, we can be a little bit faster. But I know there's, like I said, some crafters out there that'll give you all the measurements ahead of time and you can cut all your paper, and I think that's awesome. I just, again, cutting for me is much easier as I do it as I go. So our belly band is good, and whether we put a small tag in there, or maybe I'll put a, see if, well, I'd have to probably cut that down a little bit for a large tag, but that's not so bad. I could maybe make a tag with folding this up and have a little pocket in the back. So that's what we're going to go for. As easy as that was page 5 of our book, and we will move on to the back of signature 3, which will be page 6. And I think we're going to go to working with some of the, I think more of the blue or the tan, beige type papers that are in the pack. So I will be back with you in a little bit. Thanks so much. All right, crafters, let's go ahead and let's knock out another page. And this is going to be page 6 on signature 3. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of change this a little bit up and make this a little bit more of a beige or comb-tone, because there's so many tan pages in here, or items without color on them. So what I did is I took the signature, and I actually took the stickers and I put them down on both sides of this, and then I glued them down so that they would stay down. And what we're going to do is, before we remember to, before we put the background paper on, I've got a couple flaps I want to put onto to this page. And so let's get our black paper, and sorry if you hear that groaning in the background. That's one of the dogs. I have them with me tonight. And let's put this down, try to center that. And when I mean center, it just so that the black on either side is similar distance. That's what I'm trying to say. So I love all the bright colors, but you know, it's, again, like I said before, is the most difficult part of this is, I think anyways, and you know, if you have other suggestions or thoughts, let me know. Like I said, I was making this for my son and his fiance. They just got back from vacation, and he proposed to her. So I wanted to give them a tropical book so that they can put their pictures in. And I love this paper, but I'm struggling with trying to keep it within a color scheme, because I think there's so much tan in here. And not that it doesn't go with it, it does, but it's just, I would have liked to have had a little bit more of the tan paper with some color in it. So, all right, well, we're going to put both of these flaps on here. And the flaps, measurement-wise, they are 5.5 by 6, or 6.5. So 5.5 by 6.5. That's what the flaps are, both of them. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to try to keep this somewhat simplistic, but because this paper has some unusual colors in it, or you know, it just kind of busy papers. I'm going to try to introduce some color on the front here and some color along the bottom. And we're going to use some magnets in here as well. So, all right, well, we're going to put this one down on the first flap, and that is 5 3/8, and oh, I'm sorry, this this is 5 3/8, and this is, how are they the same? Oh my goodness. This is 5 1/2. Did I see, look at, I confused myself. Okay, so that's that, and then, this is 5 7/8, so 5 3/8 by 5 7/8. All right, sorry about that. And the other thing is too, is I did ink along the edges. I inked along the edges of this as well, and I'm going to put these down. We also, again, are going to go back and put stickers or additional things on there afterwards, and I will do a walkthrough once I get done putting a couple of the different insets and stamps and things I want to put in. But for now, having a hard time getting this on straight. Maybe I need to do it this way. Sorry about that. There we go. I think it's always harder to do something when you know people are watching you. I don't really know why. So then I took a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use this for my cut apart. And this actually measures 3 3/4 by 5 3/8. So that's really, well, it's longer than 5 3/8. Sorry about that. It's actually 10 5/8. And then I just scored it in the middle, and I used my corner puncher, and I used the 1/4 inch rounder. And then on this cut apart, I did the same thing. I rounded around the edges, and I also inked around those edges as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting this down onto here, and I'm going to be putting a magnet in the middle. And then again, we're going to be putting paper on here once we are toward the end. So let's get this glued in. All right. One of the things that I just have been asking everybody, and if you have the opportunity or if you have the time, I would really welcome any kind of feedback that you have or any suggestions that you have that you think might make for better videos. I have considered doing my videos where I do everything with you, cutting and everything. The only thing is sometimes I'm a bit slow at making my mind up, so I didn't want to end up having the videos be so long that they just wouldn't be enjoyable. And that's not something I want to do, but I'm thinking about doing a little bit more cutting and some of that process. Sometimes it's hard for me to cut it all up front and not really cut it and put it together at the same time. Gosh darn. Because visually, I like to look at what's going on and what I can see, and it just helps me when I'm creating or putting something together. So that was part of the reason why I thought that maybe what I would do is even try and put together maybe just the shell of it, and then go back and put the papers on. So what I'm using here is the smaller magnets because it's just to close this, and this shouldn't be any great thickness or anything for that. And then we're going to take and put, I'm going to take and put, you know, just around on 3 edges. And in case I want to use it for a pocket, I'm not saying I'm going to put a tag in here or I'm going to put a pocket, but it's just the option is there if we wanted to stick something down in there. So I'm also going to take and put that down a little bit further down. So there's not much room up here, so we probably won't use it like a pocket, but sometimes it's just nice to have that option in there. Okay, so then the next part of this is we're going to cover this bottom part, and I actually am going to put a magnet in this as well because I'd like to keep this down, but I'm going to use the bigger magnets for that. So I'm just going to do these right away because otherwise I'll forget, and I sure don't want to do that. I have done that on occasions where I've taken the magnets and, you know, used them through other pages, and sometimes it works great, and other times it works great until it doesn't. I guess is what I would say happens. And I figured this way that if it was anywhere close to it, let me see. Well, it's not even sticking to it. So, all right. Just would rather have them stay and the pages stick and not flop around. I don't like all that flopping, but here we go. Ooh, that came apart pretty easily. That's nice. All right, so then on the bottom here, what we're going to do is, with this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the inside paper. Get that in, and then we'll do this flap. And this paper underneath here is 5.5 by 6 1/4. So 5.5 by 6 1/4. And the edging is not exactly the same. One is a little bit thicker than the other, but I thought it gave it a nice, just a little bit of a different look, not something so symmetrical. I guess we'll see what it looks like when it's all said and done. All right, so we've got that, and now we've got this one, and I just want to score that again, or burnish that. And what I'm going to be using here is I've got this paper, and we're going to be putting this down here, and with the beige tones. And again, I've inked all around the edges. And then we're also going to put a pocket at the bottom of the page and introduce some of the the little stamps, so that will also help with getting some more color into the bottom of the page. And what I did with this is, did I tell you the size of this one? I'm sorry if I didn't. The size of this is 5.5 by 4.5. So that's the size of that paper. And then I did a pocket, and with the pocket I used one of my border punches, and this is the border punch, and that is from EK Success. I'm sure you've seen that. I've seen a lot of people with that punch. So what I did with this is well actually if I take it from there, it's almost 2.5. It's more 2 3/8. Well, here again, I forgot. So this is probably 2 3/4 and 6.5. This isn't quite a 1/2 inch here. I ended up punching this, and then I just scored at the bottom so that I had an edge for the pocket as well. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing, and I'm not sure if you've seen this done, but I've seen somebody put tape along the bottom here so that when you're pushing your tags in, nothing gets caught on the bottom of these. Of course, I don't have my tape right in front of me. I thought I did, so I guess we'll skip that for now. But we'll put the pocket down. And one thing you're also going to notice is that the paper that I'm going to use for covering the pocket is probably a little bit wider than I would normally use, but I wanted to cover some of the base of the border punch that I used up above, just to help support it a little bit more. Ooh, that's not good. There we go. Burnish that. See if we can get in there and get some of that. That's good. So we've got plenty of room in that pocket there. What I'm going to do with this, so this, like I said, is a little bit bigger or taller, wider than the pocket, because I wanted to cover up a little bit more of that punch. So this is, oops, wrong end. This is 1 7/8 by 5 3/8. So let's put this down. And then to bring a little bit of color down here, what we're going to do is take these stamps, and I actually did go and cut off a lot of the stamp around the edge of the black. I wanted it so that it brought color in, but it didn't necessarily, the black, I didn't like the way the black looked. I guess that's I thought this blended a little bit better and pulled in the color itself. So, yeah, so that's what we're going to put in here, and hopefully that'll give us enough color. One of the other things that I did here is for the insert for this pocket, I was going to put it down like I did with the cut apart up here, but I decided to actually use it as one of the inserts. and it's on your cut apart page, the beige cut aparts. And what I ended up doing is it's like a passport almost, and you'll be able to put pictures inside it, or you know, I'm sure it's even light enough that you could write in it, do some journaling in there, or put some paper in there, so you can put some lined paper in there to do some journaling. But I think it'll look cute with a picture in there, like a passport photo, something that's kind of small, and I think that would look good with that book. But we'll show you that in just a minute. A little bit wonky on these, but that'll have to do. So this was on the back of this page. I cut this out and I scored it, and then I inked around the edges, and then I also cut this front of the book out, and then I did take my quarter round punch on the edges of all of these to kind of clean that up a little bit, and we're going to put that on here. All right. Oh, shoot. Oh, good. I was worried I had it upside down. Oh, my goodness. That would be like me. All right. So that makes it look like a small leather book with the stamps in there. So maybe even to put a small picture in here. And I'm not going to do anything to the back of that, but I'm just going to put it in here for now. And that will come and go down there. So, oh my gosh, these are kind of crooked. I might have to go back and straighten those up just a little bit. But there is our page 6. And the other thing that really you can do, again, with the pocket and the tag, actually, I could take this, and then it's not such a deterrent, you know, not too much underneath. So I can put something like this and give it a little bit more activity on the page. I'll have to see. We'll see when it's done and see what we have in here and how it'll all work. So this is page number 6. It's on signature number 3. So we're going to be doing page number 7 next. And I thank you very much for staying and watching and spending your time with me. I really do. And again, if you have an opportunity, please subscribe, ring the bell so you know when the next video does go up. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.